Alright, so today I'm finally redoing my BOWFRONT tank. I finally have gotten the stuff that I think I want to do with it. I've got two big 25-pound bags of black gravel, big piece of driftwood, and I pulled these three artificial small plants out of the 55-gallon because the catfish kept on ripping them up. So we're going to find a spot for them in this tank. And basically the reason I'm doing this is because this tank is really lacking and compared to how it looks compared to all my other tanks. That's why, you know, I've been rescaping a lot of my other tanks, adding a lot of live plants and stuff like that in. Obviously we can't do live plants in here because of, well, all three of these guys would mess them up, especially the flagtail and the jack. But it's just these three fish right here. I don't think this is going to be too big of a deal. It should be pretty darn easy to do. And basically all I'm going to do is I've got two buckets right here. I'm going to drain 5 gallons of water out. I'm going to get all three of those guys, put them in the bucket. I'm going to take the bubble one out back there, set it in there with them. That way they'll have, you know, some good oxygen, really good aerated water. And then what we're going to do from there is start draining the rest of the tank. And then once we get it down to probably, I don't know, about right here, you know, where it's only like an inch of water, then we'll start trying to get as much of the gravel out as possible. I might leave a little bit of it in there just to leave some good beneficial bacteria, but that's what I was about to say. I'm not going to touch the filter, so we'll still have that, and I'll probably also dose this thing with stability for a good week or so just to make sure we're all set. And that's pretty much it. And then we're just going to start adding the gravel in from there, the piece of driftwood. I'm going to leave this big piece in here just because I think I can find a good spot for it. And we're just going to play around with it and see what looks the best. And this might be a two-stage rescape where, you know, I do the first initial rescape today, and then whatever I think else would look good in here, I'll add to it. I may change up some things after I figure out what, you know, looks better. I don't know. We're going to play around with it, and we're going to make this tank look better. I know that for sure. And also, what I might do sometime next week is also get an LED light strip for this. This fluorescent light is in really good shape, nothing wrong with it, but it's very dingy looking. It's got kind of a purplish tint to it, which I don't like, and I think it would look a lot better if this tank had an LED light strip on it. So, with all that being said, let's get to it. So we got all three fish in the bucket. I'm going to drop this air bubbler in there. That way they'll have some good oxygen. And we're going to get started on draining the rest of the tank. Okay, so it has now been about 24 hours or so since I rescaped the tank. The fish are now all back in there. They're looking great, you know, still kind of adjusting to it, getting used to it and all that. The Jack Dempsey does seem to have a few issues bumping into things here and there, but obviously he'll sort that out and get used to it. But it looks great. It looks a lot better than it did yesterday, I gotta say that. I put the bubble one right back behind the log, just like how it was before. Got the piece of driftwood over there, and I kind of like how this thing right here, how this part of it comes all the way over here. I think that looks pretty darn cool. And then I just put those little plants right down there. So there's the Jack right back there, looking good, looking good. Flagtail right over there, looking great. And the Bisher's hanging out up there by the heater at the moment. But for the time being, just while I was filming, just to see how well it would look, I put an extra LED light I had on here. Well, it isn't an extra one, but I took it off one of my other tanks, and this is what it would look like with the LED light. Not much brighter, but also keep in mind this tank is not cleared up all the way yet, so that is making it look a little less dim because the water's not very clear just yet. I didn't add any kind of clarifier to it. I'm just going to let it naturally clear up on its own. So that is one reason why it is not as bright as it could be, but it definitely puts more white light into the tank with more of a bluish tint, which is more of what I'm looking for from that kind of dingy fluorescent look. So I think I may end up doing this because I think this would look a lot better, and then also add a black background. That was the one thing I meant to get when I got this stuff, and I forgot it. But it looks a lot better in my opinion. It really darn does, and I'm definitely going to like this a lot. You can see the flagtail over there eating on the piece of driftwood. But yeah, I think the fish like it a lot better. I really do. I think the flagtail does, and the Bisher especially. Jack Dempsey is going to take some getting used to for him because this fish is 8 years old, and he has been in this tank for pretty much his whole life, and I've had this tank for about 6 years, so he's been in here for a while, and he's been used to how it did look, so it'll take him some getting used to, but ultimately I think this is going to be a lot better than it was before. So let me know your guys' thoughts on it. Let me know what you think I should change about it. Should I add like one big artificial plant in here that looks realistic just to add a little more greenery? But I mean, whatever you guys think would make the tank look better, please let me know down below in the comments. But for now, it is definitely looking a whole lot better, and by next video, it'll be crystal clear. And check out the inler tank. So recently, I just had this piece of driftwood in here, and we used to have these 3 white rocks hanging out over here by the filter, and I wanted to add them back in here, so I cleaned them up, and I stuck them on this side of the tank this time, and I also got this really, really big Anubias, which might be a plant that might work in this tank. I was thinking about maybe attaching a big piece of Anubias, actually that one right over there, maybe somewhere on the piece of driftwood, because hard leaf plants like Anubias, especially big ones like that, maybe the flagtail and the Jack Dempsey, they might not be able to mess those up. They might not be able to eat them, and they might just leave them alone. So I might actually try that. But anyways, this tank looks a lot better. Definitely gives the shrimp more areas to go and hide and, you know, do whatever on. But this tank is looking a lot better now, no doubt about that. Guppies and endlers looking great. Cory cats hanging out up underneath the piece of driftwood right down there. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. We have again rescaped another dang tank, but it looks better than it did before, and that was mainly the main thing I was shooting for. Very, very simple scape. Obviously I couldn't crowd this tank up with a bunch of rocks and stuff because the Jack Dempsey would not have a bunch of room to swim, but it looks better than it did before, which was my main goal. So but if you guys have any other suggestions for it, feel free to comment them down below. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in next Sunday's video. Peace.